Huh, what the hell is this place? A static-laced electronic buzz, crackling like deep-fried potato chips, sounded off. Greetings, host. I am your handler, Unit 003. Welcome to the novel. I am now transmitting the plot data. Are you ready? Before I could even manage a massive torrent of information, crashing in like a stampede on a Black Friday morning, slammed into my brain. After the upload finished, my face went green, as if I just swallowed a whole live fly. I opened my mouth, trembling. Handler, this book is utterly disgusting. Who am I playing? You are the male lead. I silently scanned my surroundings, my gaze locking onto the window. I ripped it open with a whoosh and raised my leg, ready to jump. Stop, stop, stop. Host, what are you doing? I rolled my eyes so hard they might have fallen out. I'm committing suicide. What kind of trash plot is this? Whoever wants to star in it can, but I'm out. The handler pleaded earnestly. Oh, come on. This kind of dark, angsty tone is super popular in online serial fiction right now. I shot back. I'm the biological son, betrayed by my adopted brother, ignored by my parents, constantly insulted by the girl next door, dumped by my fiancé, who then runs off with the adopted brother. Everyone is blind. They abuse me until I attempt suicide, and only then do I awaken my revenge power? That's not a male lead. That's a pure, unadulterated punching bag. I'm not playing. The handler piped up weakly. Just endure it. The second half is where you get arrogant. It's a power fantasy. Look, you'll be... Sorry, not even for a second. Sayonara. I finished, gripping the windowsill, ready to leap again. Wait, I can give you a special privilege. Just don't die. I pulled my leg back and narrowed my eyes. What privilege? The handler sounded like it was making the most momentous decision of its synthetic life. I can allow you to modify one character in a crucial plot node. Meaning what? For example, the original text says you were pushed onto the ground. You could change it to pushed onto the bed. At least it wouldn't hurt as much. I want to change everything. Impossible. By then, wait, 2 characters. 2 characters maximum. 5 characters. No negotiation. Maximum 2. See ya. Get back here. The handler sounded like it was having a synthetic breakdown. After an intense, haggling match worthy of a flea market vendor, the handler finally slapped its figurative knee like a frustrated sitcom character. Fine. 3 characters. Deal. I asked suspiciously. So why are you so desperate to keep me from dying? The handler's voice was world-weary, like an old employee about to retire when the company declares bankruptcy. This is my last assignment. I just want to retire peacefully without any major glitches. That actually made me feel a little guilty. All right, handler, what's the next note? A line of virtual text floated before my eyes. I read it and was instantly speechless. Are you kidding me? My cheapskate father is made of stone. My adopted brother claims I gave him laxatives. And he's going to beat me without even asking any questions? The handler was cold. Don't complain. If you don't complete the mission, you can't go back. Just suffer through it. I rolled my eyes into my skull. So, this beating is unavoidable, huh? The handler, I stared at the text line, a wicked smile spreading across my face. Fine, old man. You just wait. Bang. The bedroom door was kicked open. My cheapskate father, Arthur Miller, glared at me with eyes like copper bells. You reprobate. You have a nerve to lie there. Get your ass down here. Look at the mess you made. He didn't wait for me to put on shoes, dragging me straight into the living room. My adopted brother, Brandon Miller, was sprawled elegantly on the sofa, pale-faced but positioned artfully. He spoke in a near whisper, barely catching his breath. Dad, don't blame Ethan. He might have just been confused. He took a shallow gasp, tears welling in the corners of his eyes. It's my fault, really. I knew Ethan didn't like me, but I still ate the oatmeal he brought me. My cheapskate mother, Susan Miller, immediately burst into tearful distress, turning her angry gaze on me. Ethan, how could you? Arthur roared. Today, I am giving you the house law. Let's see if you dare to be this malicious again. He fiercely reached toward his waist. I smirked, instantly pulling up the system panel and changing the original text leather bell to lace stocking. And so, in full view of everyone, my father whipped a long, black lace stocking from his waistband and swung it at my face. Susan's pupils instantly dilated. Arthur Miller, where did that stocking come from? Dad was dumbfounded himself. I don't know. Oh, you good for nothing. No wonder you're always saying you're working late. You've been playing kinky games, have you? Mom completely lost it. The two immediately started tearing into each other, hair flying and the stocking whipping, the scene spiraling rapidly out of control. The handler's voice sounded weak in my mind. You are corrupting the plot. This will affect subsequent developments. I shrugged. You promised I could change 3 characters. The handler. A sound resembling a system crash static. Just then, a knock came at the front door. The housekeeper had barely opened it when the neighbor girl, Chelsea Hayes, stormed in, radiating fury. She first looked tenderly at the weak Brandon on the sofa, then directed her wrath at me. Ethan Miller, how could you do this to Brandon? She pulled a wrapped gift box from her bag. I actually thought you had changed for the better. Your birthday present. Take it back. I quickly accessed the panel, changing Chelsea angrily threw the gift at Ethan Miller's feet to at Brandon Miller's head. Chelsea took one step back, bent her knees slightly, performing a perfect free throw setup. Her right hand supported the gift box at her shoulder, her left aiding the aim. With a slight flick of her wrist, watch my 3-pointer. The gift box traced a perfect parabola, hitting my adopted brother squarely on the forehead. Dong! A crisp, hard sound. Brandon immediately seized up, limbs twitching. He didn't make a sound, going completely stiff. The box lid flew off, and a cold, heavy glass trophy tumbled out, rolling across the floor. Chelsea covered her mouth, a catch in her voice. Brandon, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to. I didn't know. I clicked my tongue from the side. It's that bad when you don't mean it. What happens when you're actually aiming to kill? Just then, the clack-clack of high heels approached the door. What in the world is going on? I looked up. It was my older sister, Veronica Miller. In the original novel, she was the only rational and objective character, but sadly, she was later tricked by Brandon and sold off into an arranged marriage. I quickly scanned the virtual original text, finding the description of her action. Sighing softly, she helped her adopted brother to the hospital. I saved 2 characters and changed it to dragging her adopted brother to the hospital. And so, my sister looked down at the foaming Brandon, sighed softly, bent down and grabbed one of his legs, then proceeded to drag him out, face down. Brandon's face intimately scraped the hardwood floor, making a shh sound, all the way from the living room to the front door. I excitedly summoned the handler. Hey, handler, doesn't this remind you of that absurd scene in The Three Stooges? The handler muttered to itself, my retirement reputation. It's ruined. Wait, handler? Do I really have to go to the hospital? Can I skip it? The handler sounded utterly defeated. Go. In this plot segment, your fiancé, who is studying overseas, returns and visits the adopted brother in the hospital. You have to get jealous for the subsequent plot to unfold. I clicked my tongue. Fine. Inside the hospital room, I tried hard to suppress my laughter looking at Brandon, whose head was wrapped entirely in bandages, making him look exactly like a tourist who'd gotten completely lost. My cheapskate father pointed at me, shaking with rage. You're still laughing? Look at Brandon's head. I looked innocent. Chelsea hit him. My cheapskate mother cried. Look at Brandon's face. I shrugged. Veronica dragged him. The 2 of them. The handler prompted. Attention, the fiancé is about to enter the battlefield. I instantly brought up the panel and found the original text. The fiancé returned from overseas. A brilliant idea struck me, and I changed overseas to the ranch. The handler, host, I was self-righteous. I only changed 1 character. I even saved you 2. The hospital room door creaked open. A stylish woman wearing a faux fur coat and sunglasses poked her head in. When she spoke, it was with a thick, distinctly regional accent. Well, looky here. What kind of mess you got into, son? Veronica, next to me. I pressed on, scrolling to the next paragraph. Brandon Miller, lying weakly in a hospital bed. A malicious streak took over. I made a sweeping change. I changed lying weakly to excruciatingly shitting. The handler. You are truly disgusting. I rolled my eyes. Your data. You don't need to excrete. I'm a man with bowels. Brandon, eyes squeezed shut, his face taking on a strange flush, suddenly tensed up. An indescribable stench permeated the room. Brandon let out a long sigh, a look of satisfied serenity washing over his face. My fiancée, Tanya Rourke, immediately covered her nose. Oh my God, he just went right there? Something must have gotten a hold of him. Good thing I came prepared. She ripped open her designer bag and pulled out a full outfit suitable for a fringe spiritual revivalist, dressing while talking. I'm telling you, little brother, this ain't no normal sickness. Good thing I got back. Veronica looked horrified and gripped my arm tightly. Tanya pulled out a tambourine-like drum, standing by the bed, and started pounding and chanting, jumping up and down. The sun goes down, the sky is dark now. Hey, yo. I turned to Veronica, shaking her excitedly. Her pitch is so high. Veronica. A trembling voice came from the hallway. belonging to a young nurse. D-Director, someone's doing a faith-healing ritual in 307. Before Tanya could finish the chant about the Holy Spirit descending, the room door burst open again. We received a report about a public disturbance involving superstitious practices. You need to come with us. Hey, what's the big idea? Don't tear my clothes. As the police led her away, Tanya shouted back at us. If the man gets worse, call me. I could do a full-blown exorcism, too. I waved goodbye with a wide grin. Veronica looked stunned, didn't she? Go overseas. I patted her shoulder, speaking profoundly. What is American is global, sis. Veronica. Brandon slowly came to. I was shocked. Holy crap, that actually worked? Veronica. My cheapskate father pointed at me, shaking with anger. It's all because of you, you wicked son. I was utterly confused. You're blaming the faith-healing ritual on me? The old man spun in a circle with rage. A flash of inspiration hit me, and I quickly pulled up the system panel, scrolling to the original sentence. Angrily through his phone. I smiled wickedly, making a sweeping change, angrily through his feces. The handler immediately went berserk. You are beyond disgusting. I ignored it. My cheapskate father, brimming with fury, actually reached inside Brandon's hospital pants, pulled out a handful of the unmentionable substance, and hurled it directly at me. Veronica's pupils were at level 10 dilation. She let out a piercing scream. Run! She yanked me by the arm, and we scrambled, stumbling out of the hospital room. We hid miserably behind the nurse's station. Veronica cautiously peered around the corner, keeping an eye on the room. Just then, Chelsea Hayes approached, carrying an insulated thermos, tapping her way down the hall. She saw us, lurking suspiciously, gave me a look of contemptuous disdain, and pushed the door open to the hospital room. Veronica immediately pulled me into a commando crawl. We snaked our way to the door and peeked through the crack. Chelsea was gazing tenderly at Brandon, occasionally sniffing the air. I whispered, does she have chronic allergies or something? Veronica. I stealthily clicked the panel, finding Chelsea's next line. Pork rib soup I made just for you. I chuckled, then changed it to garbage disposal runoff soup I made just for you. The handler. You are the most terrible being to ever exist. I made a humble gesture of thanks. Chelsea opened the thermos. An unbearable odor instantly flooded out through the door crack. Veronica and I both clapped our hands over our mouths and noses. Brandon, this is the special soup I made just for you. Let me feed you. Brandon sniffed. His expression gradually turned to horror. Chell, what? What kind of soup is this? Chelsea bowed her head shyly. I specifically collected the runoff from the State University Athletic Dorm cafeteria and woke up early to pick up some rotten vegetable scraps from the market. Are you serious? Wretch, are you kidding me? Come on, open wide, wretch. Brandon's lips trembled, opening his mouth with a look of suicidal acceptance. Chelsea, thank you. Wretch, this soup is truly, wretch, so, wretch, delicious. My cheapskate parents hugged each other tightly, smiling lovingly at this touching scene. I quietly reminded Veronica, Dad's hand. He hasn't washed it yet. Veronica, gah, she grabbed my arm, looking lost, her voice shaking. Did they join some kind of cult? I looked at the affectionate group inside the room, stroking my chin and thought, I think this is more like a new form of performance art. A passing nurse suddenly stopped, covering her nose and speaking nasally. Did the sewage line on this floor back up again? That smell is overwhelming. Veronica and I sat in the banquet hall, elbowing my older sister, Veronica, who was staring blankly ahead. Sis, wasn't Tanya arrested? How'd she get out? Veronica stared numbly at her water glass. Paid the fine, I guess. I clicked my tongue. Cash power, indeed, solved everything. The handler suddenly grew alert. Host, today is the crucial scene from the original text where the fiancé publicly breaks the engagement, and you snap. I advise you to behave. I didn't answer, furiously poking the virtual panel. Arthur Miller stood up to give a speech. Distinguished guests, today is the engagement ceremony for my son. Thank you for attending. I hereby announce. Wait a minute. Tanya Rourke stood up, whoosh. I peeked and noticed she had a pair of drumsticks tucked into the back of her designer dress. I quickly found the original text. Tanya declared that her heart belonged to another, and that person was Brandon Miller. I grinned, making a sweeping change, replacing Brandon Miller with Chelsea Hayes. Tanya waved her hand, her voice booming. A major event like finding a partner needs to be my decision. My heart already belongs to someone. She turned around, her gaze burning holes into our table. Brandon subconsciously smoothed down his bandage-wrapped head, a shy blush rising to his cheeks. However, Tanya's next sentence was, "I choose little Chelsea Hayes." The entire hall fell silent for 3 seconds. Brandon's smile froze on his face. I cheerfully continued to modify the original text. Chelsea Hayes covered her face and ran out. Too common. I changed it to rolled out. Chelsea suddenly let out a scream, bending her legs. A perfect backward somersault, one hand covering her face, the other clasping her knees. Using momentum and leverage, she genuinely rolled out of the banquet hall like a ball. I excitedly asked the handler, "Hey, doesn't that look like the fighter's fire wheel move?" The handler completely shut down. The next line of the original text, Brandon Miller mounted his motorcycle and chased after her. I sneered, still trying to look cool on a motorcycle. I changed it with a backhand swipe, mounted a stray dog, and chased after her. Brandon leaped up, shouting, "Chelsea, wait for me." With a single bound, he charged out the door, somehow grabbing a bewildered stray dog, flipped onto its back. "Giddy up." The entire room, full of guests, was dumbfounded. Veronica shakily pulled out her phone. "Hello, police department? What's the number for the anti-cult hotline?" Just then, a loud bang sounded from the street outside. I grabbed Veronica. "Quick, let's go look." Something actually happened. Everyone rushed out of the hotel. Not far away, a delivery driver was squatting on the curb, scratching his head and muttering curses. My driving instructor never told me I had to watch out for dudes riding dogs. I was clutching my side, suppressing laughter until my lungs hurt. After a moment, I walked over and patted him. "So, did you call the police?" He looked like his reality had shattered. "Yeah." The dispatcher confirmed 3 times and then asked if I needed them to contact the consulate. I couldn't hold it in anymore and sat down next to him, laughing hysterically. The driver looked exasperated. "Don't laugh, buddy. I saw this guy ride a dog right out of that hotel. Are you with him?" I waved my hand, still laughing. The dog is definitely not." Just then, the police arrived. They surveyed the scene, looking serious. "Sir, even if you are an international friend, you cannot ride a dog on the road. I don't think that's even legal in New Delhi." A younger officer whispered, "Chief, I think that's a local guy." The old officer paused, squatting down to examine the whimpering Brandon carefully. He looked up at us, bewildered. "Is this performance art?" Veronica sighed, covering her face and turning away, refusing to answer. The old officer stood up, perplexed, asking his rookie, "How do we handle this situation?" The young officer was equally lost. They didn't teach this in the academy. He suddenly squatted down, struggling to hold back a laugh, and said to Brandon, "Hey, buddy, how about you teach me how to ride the dog? I'll pay for lessons." Just then, Tanya shoved her way through the crowd, screaming, "See, what did I tell you? This ain't normal sickness. Can a normal person ride a dog? Move, move, move." She immediately squatted down, rummaging through her bag for her revival props. The old officer was still diligently searching his phone for, "Is riding a dog on public roads against traffic law?" Veronica's face was sheet white. She grabbed me and ran. "Let's go fast." I glanced back, seeing Tanya already leaping and the young officer actually pulling out his wallet. When we reached the street corner, Veronica shakily pulled out her phone. "Hello? It's me again. I suspect they've collectively joined a cult. Please send more units. And bring therapists. The address is..." In my mind, the handler let out a mosquito-like whine. "My pension. It's all gone." I was sitting outside the police station, chatting with the handler. "I saw Chelsea rolling in the park this morning. That athlete's physique is insane. She was rolling so smoothly." The handler, refusing to communicate. The police station doors opened, and a group of people filed out. The officer lectured them as they walked. "Even if it's performance art, you need to file reports with the relevant departments beforehand. Don't let it happen again." The group nodded furiously. Veronica approached, looking utterly drained. "Where's Chelsea?" I took a sip of my protein shake. "Saw her in the park this morning, rolling happily. I left her 2 bagels and a bottle of water." Veronica stared blankly into the distance, murmuring, "What in the world is happening to this world?" Brandon was fully hospitalized again, but Chelsea was like a perpetual motion machine, continuing her performance art. I slouched on the sofa, poking the handler. "Unit, what's the next plot segment?" The handler's voice was faint. "Your father should be going to the graveyard to mourn his first love." "Mourn?" I quickly brought up the panel. "Oh, right, the old man and Brandon's mother were college sweethearts. The one that got away." This segment described him going to her grave in his old college letterman jacket to repent. The corners of my mouth curled up violently. He. Soon enough, I saw Arthur walking out, dressed in white, shouldering a tall staff with streamers, and carrying a bundle of symbolic currency, looking melancholic. Veronica just emerged from the restroom. Where's Dad going? I munched on sunflower seeds. Oh, he's going to mourn Brandon's biological mother. His first love. My cheapskate mother whirled around. Who? Me. Brandon's mom, Dad's college sweetheart. Mom instantly exploded. That old goat. The nerve. On the way to the cemetery, I asked the handler. In the original text, my mom just forgave Dad. She tolerated him mourning his first love. The handler was barely alive. Perhaps. It was love. I shook my head. These NPCs have terminal romantic delusions. At the gravesite, Arthur collapsed on the tombstone, weeping hysterically. I failed you. I didn't take care of our son. Susan's expression softened slightly, seeming touched. I sneered, quickly modifying the panel. I changed the original text. Susan helped Arthur stand up. Susan performed a slide tackle on Arthur. Susan suddenly wiped her tears, stepped back, accelerated her run, shouting, I forgive you, followed by a textbook football slide tackle. In a cloud of dust, crash. Arthur rotated 120 degrees in the air and landed perfectly. The two immediately started grappling, insults and yellow dirt flying everywhere. Veronica expressionlessly dialed the phone. Yes, it's me again. Send several more cars, preferably with mental health professionals. The address is... I patted her shoulder. Don't worry, you'll get used to it. Veronica suddenly broke down and grabbed me. Do you know what people are calling us outside? The dog riding cult. Me? I couldn't argue with that for a moment. In the interrogation room, the police officer looked at me, bewildered. You're saying your father and mother assaulted each other, and your mother initiated the physical contact? I nodded solemnly. Yes, to be precise, my mother used a professional slide tackle as a preemptive strike. A slide tackle? The officer looked as though he'd heard an alien language. Yes, the kind used in soccer. I even gestured with my hands, the one with the running start low to the ground, tackling the feet. The young officer doing the recording next to him quickly grabbed his folder and covered his face, but his shoulders were violently shaking. And about the dog riding incident, I immediately raised my hand. Officer, I must clarify this point. The person is family, but the dog is absolutely not. Could this potentially count as grand theft auto, but for an animal? The young officer slipped completely under the desk with a thud. And that Chelsea Hayes. I quickly waved my hands. She has no relation to our family. Just a neighbor. Purely individual behavior. I even bought her bagels once. The young officer gave up entirely and remained on the floor. Walking out of the interrogation room, Veronica was exhausted, speaking with another officer. Ms. Miller, after expert consultation, the city's preliminary designation for your family situation is a new age folk performance art collective. Veronica looked miserable. Can't you just designate us a cult? Performance art sounds more embarrassing. From inside the door, we could hear the young officer desperately trying to find a pressure point to calm down. Me. The sister and brother walked out of the police station. The sun was setting. Veronica's eyes were vacant as she stared into the distance. Little brother, I think we're the only two sane people left in this family. I was about to pat her shoulder in comfort when I saw Chelsea rolling toward us at a steady pace along the curb. Veronica silently crouched down and offered her a bottle of water. Chelsea tilted her head back, drinking it in one go, using her momentum from rolling, then, without a word, continued rolling away. We stood there, watching the disappearing human fire wheel, speechless. After a long pause, Veronica slowly turned to me, her eyes vacant. Ethan, tell me, is she training for some kind of legendary martial arts skill? I stroked my chin and thought, could also be preparation for the Olympic rhythmic tumbling event. Veronica. Just then, the handler beeped weakly in my mind. Host. The latest plot node is unlocked. Your former classmate, Adrian Vance, CEO of Vance Global, is returning to the country. My eyes lit up. The one I tormented in the original text until he became a dark villain and eventually ruined me. The handler, yes. But given that you have modified the plot to the point that its own mother wouldn't recognize it, the system cannot calculate his purpose for returning now. While I was pondering, the roar of an engine suddenly erupted in the distance. A stretch limousine pulled up to the curb. The door opened, and a man in a sharp suit and sunglasses stepped out. He removed his shades, revealing a face handsome enough to stop traffic, his gaze complicated as he looked at us. Ethan Miller? I'm back. Before I could speak, Veronica suddenly lunged forward, grabbing Adrian's hand tightly. Mr. Vance, you're a successful man who's seen the world. Tell me, can a person really ride a dog? Adrian Vance. Watching Adrian's utterly confused expression, I couldn't help but burst into laughter. Well, the plot was officially heading toward the mental hospital, never to return.